They say blood is thicker than water. But what will you do when that person who is supposed to be blood is standing over you? Knife raised in the air in the middle of the night while your 6 children are sleeping just rooms away. With a look in his eyes, you know that any moment from now, he's going to strike. You call his name begging him to spare you or to even consider your children sleeping in the next room. But he turned deaf ears and in a split second struck you multiple times. And he didn't just stop there. He went ahead to the next room where your kids are sleeping and then he went after them one after the other. This is the story of Fatima Abubakar and what happened inside her home in Dorayi Chiranchi just days ago is the kind of nightmare that stays with you forever. It was a typical night for Fatima Abubakar. She was a mother, wife and the heartbeat of their home. With her husband away, she was there alone with her 6 children. And these are kids who had their whole life in front of them. The oldest was just a teenager and the youngest was barely starting life. Her house was supposed to be a sanctuary, but when the neighbors slept, a group of shadows slipped in. There was no forced entry, no broken gates, and this was because the person leading this entry had a key, or better still, had their trust. Now when he got into the house, the first person he had seen was Fatima. And Fatima was not really surprised to see him in the house because he was a face that she was familiar with. She warmed up to him and was asking him about his day and all that. And in a split second, she realized that being that relaxed with him might just have been the greatest mistake she might have made. Because in just a short while, he came after her, hitting her multiple times until she could no longer move. And in that chaos and in her shouting, her children ran into the room. Now, the initial plan was just to unalive Fatima alone because she was the main person that he came for. But seeing that her scream had attracted her children and they ran into the room to know what was wrong with the mom, they had to go after the children one by one because apparently they had seen their faces and would be able to identify them when the police arrived. Now they went after these children with a kind of force that you would not even use on an animal. About 2 of these children were found inside the well in the midst of this chaos. Now after these people had done what they wanted to do, that's literally finishing off Fatima and everyone in the house, they slipped silently out of the house the same way they had come in. When the morning came, the neighbors decided to go check what happened because during the night they've been hearing a lot of screams and sound coming in from the house. And the reason why some of them said they didn't really go to check was because they felt that this was unknown gunmen, because these unknown gunmen had been ravaging the community and communities that were close to them. So everybody was scared, thinking that these were these men doing the same thing in this house. When they went there, they saw a sight that was so horrific that even the best of detectives were shaken to their core. Fatima and all 6 of her children had been unalived. Not even a single one was spared. The walls of their home, which should have been echoing with sounds of kids playing, was now stained with ultimate betrayal from somebody very close to them. Now, like I said, the whole community thought it was an unknown gunman, but the Kano State Police were not having it. They launched their investigation and started digging, but they didn't have to dig so far. In the midst of this investigation, they found out that the perpetrator of this crime was not a stranger. It was somebody that knew them to the core. Fatima's own nephew. Think about this for a moment. This is somebody that has probably eaten on her table. Someone the kids might even call brother or cousin. And he didn't do this alone. When he was found with 2 accomplices. First one was Ishaku Yakubu, 21 years old, and Yakubu Abdulaziz, 40 years old. The 2 of them had not been linked to any crime before now. They've been known as peace-loving people in the community and they were quite popular in the community and even had nicknames attached to their names. And when the police investigated further to know why this crime was committed, it was discovered that this was just pure greed. Apparently, Fatima was next in line to some sort of inheritance. There were a lot of people that were next in line to the inheritance. So he decided to start to take these people one by one, and Fatima was just his victim. He felt that if he can take out everybody that were next in line for this inheritance or for this fortune, it would give him a better chance of getting this whole fortune alone or to himself. So he didn't mind taking as much as 50 people if this would make him be the only person that is suitable for that fortune. He was okay with it. Imagine how greed led these three guys to sit down and properly plan the unaliving of a mother and her 6 children. And they planned it so well that it happened when the husband of Fatima was not at home, when they know that they would have little or no defense. Community of Dorayi is still mourning, but they are also screaming for blood. The Emir of Kano and the state government are under massive pressure right now. People want more than just an arrest. They want the maximum penalty. And I really feel that the maximum penalty is worth it in this case. But what do you think would make somebody this hardened? And do you think that the maximum penalty is worth it for this person? Let me know in the comment section.